So the big thing, Maggie, that's kind of created a bit of a stir amongst, I guess, some in the freedom movement in relation to these freedom parties are how to vote cards. Now, the obvious disclaimer, as we both know, right, these how to vote cards are recommendations only. In the Senate and the House, they're recommendations only. And a lot of people do not follow them. But still, they exist, and it's always interesting to look at. Now, you see, I've actually got a UAP how to vote card from 2022. And you can actually see some of their Senate preferences off the back. I want to start in the Senate in Victoria, and that's going to be a key race here where you've got quite a few freedom parties potentially in the running. Trumpet of Patriots won them, two family first, and third, Democrats. What are they doing with the Democrats? Why would they put Democrats over Rennick, Libertarian, Citizens, and One Nation, who aren't even on there?
I think what's going on there is that the Democrats are quite neatly slotted in between Family First and Jared Rennick People First in the ballot order. And so they've been able to have a how to vote card, which goes one, two, three, four, five, six. Even if there's a few parties in between, it's still completely in order. And they've decided, you know what, the Democrats not going to get in maybe 0.5%, 1% if they're very lucky. So why not just put them in third for, consistency, making sure voters have an easy time preferencing in the Senate.
Well, yeah, and here's their how to vote card for the Senate UAP in 2022, and it was 615423 in that order, and they had One Nation on this. And what's really notable here, they don't have One Nation on this how to vote card at all. Now, Family First is an outside chance. I still think of the parties on there, the Libertarian Party, I reckon, has the best shot of those six that Trumpet of Patriots has there. Would you agree?
Of the six they've got there, yeah, I'd probably agree. Family First, maybe if they have some big grand campaign, but I'm not aware of. I don't think they do. I'd say the Libertarians have been putting up billboards across a lot of places in Victoria.
Jordan Ditloff, their candidate there. I want to go to the Senate in New South Wales now. This is where it's really interesting, as we've discussed. You've got this Australia First Alliance. That's the Libertarians, that's the Heart Party, and that's Gerard Rennick People First on the same joint ticket. That's in New South Wales. And Trumpet of Patriots there, they have Family First second, again, Christians third. Christians aren't running in Victoria, as I understand off the top of my head. And then you have the Libertarians fourth, the Lambie Network fifth, the Citizens sixth, and again, no One Nation. And this is again a spot where One Nation has a realistic chance. They've won a Senate before. They've won a Senate seat before. If we go to Queensland as well in the Senate, it's pretty similar there. Trumpet of Patriots, number one. You have Family First second, third Democrats, fourth Rennick KAP, five Lambie, six Citizens, no Libertarians. Gerard Rennick,
And no,
obviously, he's in an interesting position, Maggie, as this incumbent running for re-election. He's up against Malcolm Roberts, who's an incumbent One Nation senator running for re-election. Does Rennick have a shot?
honestly, at the start of this race, I thought, I might as well count out Jared Rennick, but I think at this point, he might have at least the slightest chance, something like 5 or 10% chance to win, just because I've seen a lot of people talking about him on social media, but also a lot of people on the ground, a lot of people, even in Brisbane, around me, in central Queensland, a lot of signs up for Jared Rennick People First. He's really been able to get some sort of ground campaign going in Queensland. I don't think that'll be enough to get, 5%, which would probably be, the minimum amount of votes he'd have to get to be able to beat One Nation. I don't think he'd be able to get 8%. That's impossible to beat Labour or the Greens. But I would say at the very least 5%, maybe there's an outside chance Jared Rennick does surprise everyone. I mean, the UAP got 5% in Queensland last time, and that vote has to go somewhere. And I reckon a lot of those votes won't be going back to the Trumpet of Patriots.
Exactly. Yeah, I think one thing that I still don't think that they'll do very well at all, but one thing that might benefit trumpets here is that they are second on the ballot in the Senate there, column B there in Queensland. If we go to South Australia in the Senate, that's an area where One Nation could win. You have the Libertarians on that ballot. They're again behind Family First. Then you've got Rennick, Lambie, Citizens. If we go back to WA as well, you have one Trumpets, two Christians. There's no Family First running. Three Democrats, again, four People First, five Libertarians, six Citizens. And if you look at Tasmania, Tasmania is really interesting. Really, really interesting. Look at this. One Trumpets, two Lambie, and look, people say a lot of things about Jackie Lambie's political positions, but for her comments on vaccines, she's not exactly a huge friend to some in the online freedom movement. Three Libertarians, fourth Liberals, five Labor, six Citizens. They have both major parties on there. And you remember, this is semi-optional preferential, so neither of them necessarily need to be on there. But you've managed to get Labor on the how to vote. You don't have One Nation. Is it fair to call this a bit of a spat? I mean, Clive Palmer did try to buy One Nation. Like that's like on record, being reported by, I think it was Sky. It seems they've really spatty because they were preferencing One Nation at some point on the Senate ballots as the UAP in 2022.
I really think there's been some sort of conflict with the UAP and One Nation and even Bashuda's Fishers Farmers Party because One Nation and Bashuda's have been omitted from every single Senate how to vote card for the Trumpet of Patriots. Even the Trumpet of Patriots has chosen to put Labor and the Liberals, but mainly Labor ahead of both parties in Tasmania. So I think Clive Farmer's made a very deliberate choice, and Sue Ellen Wrightson, uh, to, punish One Nation, maybe because, they didn't agree to Clive Farmer's proposition of a merger. Um, and the shooters, fishers, farmers, I'm not entirely sure, but I think there's really been a lot of preference spats between all these parties on the right. I mean, the Libertarians and One Nation have been having a go at Family First. The Great Australian Party has been having a go at Libertarians and One Nation. Just a lot of a lot of anger on the right and a lot of internal conflict, which I don't think is very good, especially for mobilizing these volunteers of these parties.
If we look at the House of Representatives, it's particularly interesting. The Greens held seats. Now, Trumpet of Patriots, they're not running in all seats, unlike UAP 2022, but they are running in the three Greens held seats in Queensland. Start off with Brisbane, and they've got their six One Nation, four Labor, three Family First, eight, so last Greens. Greens are last on that ballot. Seven Trevor Evans LNP. And then you've got Trumpets, you have People First, and you have, wait for it, you have the Fusion Party second. You have Fusion second on the Trumpet of Patriots ballot, a how to vote card in Brisbane. This is bizarre. This is really, really weird preferencing. Again, Labor over LNP is the main point, but this just seems a bit inexplicable.
I think so. Trumpet of Patriots have made the conscious decision to put incumbents last in every seat. I don't think I've seen any how to vote cards that oppose that. Um, but they have made the interesting decision of putting both major parties last, and then the Greens third last behind both major parties, maybe behind independents in select seats. I don't know how Trumpet of Patriots have put Diley and Fowler, but the point is, I mean, Trump and Patriots are essentially directing preferences to the Greens in most of these seats. Anywhere where One Nation doesn't get above the Greens, anywhere where the final count is between the Greens, Coalition, and Labor, which is most seats, Trump and the Patriots will be directing preferences to the Greens, except in the seats the Greens already hold.
Yeah,
So
like
that
this, and
means
and they've put Labor fourth, and we'll see how the final two candidate preferred shows up. If we look at Griffith as well, which is obviously held by Max Chandler Mather, Griffith currently has he's last as you'd kind of expect, but second place, second is Labor on this how to vote card. Again, we know these are recommendations, but still, you have second last One Nation. You have People First fifth, LNP fourth. You have third is Family First, and second is Labor on this. And then if you look at Ryan, the other Greens held seat, the candidate there is named Ryan, no photo by the way. So there's a few of these candidates, a bunch of these candidates without any photos. You again have Rebecca Hack, the Labor candidate, second there, and you have the Greens last, as you'd expect. Theoretically, if you have voters following this, and this ends up being a contest, maybe not necessarily Ryan, but in some other seats where it's Labor versus Greens, this helps Labor over the Greens. I mean, this would, if you followed it, go directly to Labor, depending on the final count here.
I think Trumpet of Patriots have made the very understandable realization that okay, Labor is the most dangerous party to the Greens in these three seats. I don't think the LNP aren't projected to really gain any ground in Queensland and stay stagnant statewide. That means there'll be some swings to the LNP, some swings to Labor. Places where there'll be swings to Labor will probably be in the inner city. So there's no reason to say the LNP are going to win Ryan or Brisbane, in my opinion. And I think Clive Palmer's also come to that realization. And so he's decided the best way to unseat these three Green MPs in Brisbane, Ryan, and Griffith is to direct preferences to Labor because that's who is the more serious threat to the Greens. I mean, even in Griffith, if Labor just stays above the LNP, Max Shanley-Mayfield will probably lose.
One other one I want to look at. By the way, you mentioned Fowler. It looks like Trumpets isn't running a candidate there, which is interesting. Um, but I want to look at actually Monash. Monash, I'm interested at. The incumbent there is
Yep.
Russell Broadbent, independent, formerly Liberal. He's third. Last, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head who Tully Fletcher's with off the top of my head, but Russell Broadbent is third there. Behind the Teal independent, Deb Leonard. What? Come on, this looks like random number generators at this point.
I
You've
mean,
got Trumpets one, the
so,
Teal independent second, and the right wing independent Russell Broadbent third. What is this? Come on, this is even by weird how to vote card standards. This is insane. Surely.
I mean, consistently across a lot of these seats where the Teals are trying to gain, and Warren, Monash, Moncrief, McPherson, the only seat I've seen an exception to that is Moore. The Teals have been put ahead of every notable contender, essentially second in most of these seats. Like, Trumpet of Patriots are directing preferences to Alex Dyson and Warren, or Akana Mark Bartlett and McPherson, Nicole Arrowsmith and Moncrief ahead of the LNP, ahead of Labour, ahead of the Greens, ahead of almost every right wing party, even. And so I think well, it's really very interesting. I'm not sure what Clive Palmer's really thinking, deciding that Teals are more palatable to Trumpet of Patriots than the LNP. But
Or Russell
um,
Broadbent.
he's made that decision, and clearly he's decided to help them.
One other one, just finally, I want to look at here, Benelong, because this gained some attention as well. Benelong is at the last election. It was picked up by Labor. This is obviously John Howard's old seat. You remember when he lost it on 2007? Like, well, neither of us remember, but as I said, currently held by Labor. Trumpet of Patriots running there. 8 candidates. Last place, Liberals in Benelong. Now, the only explanation, oh, by the way, seventh, so second last is Labor in this seat, but it is going to be one of them. And if you follow this how to vote card directly, it's going to end up with Labor almost certainly. The only explanation I can think of this, Maggie, and you follow redistributions closer than I do, is that because it's notional Liberal, they're putting the Liberal candidate last, even though the incumbent MP is definitely Labor and is not last there. Other than that, I cannot think of why they do this.
I think um, what's going on here is Clive Palmer hasn't done his research. Not I say Clive Palmer, Trumpet of Patriots hasn't done their research. Maybe they've gone to some Wikipedia seat pendulum and just seen which seats are notionally Liberal, which seats are notionally Labor. Um, I mean, they've put the Liberals ahead of behind Labor in Bennelong, but they've also put the Liberals last in Menzies, which is notionally Labor. So I don't really know what's going on. Bennelong seems to be the only exception. Um, I just don't think they've done their research. They haven't really looked at, I mean, what party even that the MP Jerome Lexal is from, which would be Labor. And so they've made the mistake of putting Labor second last instead of last in Bennelong.
I really appreciate that they have just recycled the exact same UAP 2022 template. It's an interesting campaign they're running.